Now you might think this is your regular Hot 42 with a fancy splash of paint, and it does look quite similar to their mirrored E16, but there's more to this than meets the eye. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. This is a 17 button leverless controller designed for fighting games, but also pretty good for other arcade genres. It will work with 3D action games if you're a madman. I've seen someone beat Elden Ring with a dance pad, so I'm not judging. Play what you want with whatever you like. Is it cheating? Yeah, you could call it cheating if you've run out of all other excuses for losing your set. This isn't a sponsored video, but the Emotion 3 was sent over by TBGamer for the purpose of this review, and all opinions are my own. Before we continue with the review, I want to quickly address the branding situation. I've been covering Hot 42 controllers for the better part of 2 years, and I never really understood what that TBGamer Retro Plus rebranding stuff was all about. I mean, it's been a few years and all I've seen is a redesigned P12 and some arcade buttons. That was until recently. It seems they've been quietly cooking behind the scenes, and now they're ready to make their next statement in the leverless world. So here's how I understand it. Hot 42 is the main company. Whether you buy one of their controllers with a Cosmox logo, TBGamer logo, or Retro Plus, it's all Hot 42. Cosmox is their mainline collection of controllers. This is the brand they use when they want to update some of their fan favorites, or they want to experiment with some new features. With the experience and manufacturing knowledge they gain from this line, we'll get the TBGamer controllers, which are so far bolder with their visual designs. I don't think these will be as customizable as the Cosmox line when it comes to aesthetics. Finally, Retro Plus will be the brand they use when they go for more specialized products like the arcade buttons or this cool looking ergonomic controller. These are only my observations of the situation, so please don't take my word for gospel. The good news is that all controllers by Hot 42 are reasonably priced. They won't have the best packaging experience and the quality assurance can be shoddy, but they will be affordable to most people. So back to the Emotion 3. It works on anything semi-modern like PC, Mac, Switch, and even has modes for the mini consoles. The PS5 and Xbox Series will require dongles like the Boota 5 or Boota X plugged into the EXT port, and no, it won't work on your Sega Saturn or GameCube. Since this does the same thing as 97% of other leverless controllers out there, let's address the main reason you might choose this over the Cosmox line: the aesthetics. It's not what we usually get on arcade controllers, so you might love it or hate it. I think it looks brilliant. It's not dark and moody like most of the other ones out there. It doesn't scream sleek and edgy. It speaks more to the fun, cheeky crowd. You know, it doesn't always have to be frame counting and optimized damage and all of that. We can lighten the mood a bit and have some fun with our fighting games, right? This bright and bold design is printed on the sandblasted CNC metal top panel. The panel has chamfering all the way around and it has a small but not insignificant slope. Most leverless controllers I have come across with these dimensions usually have some chamfering, but not all of them will have a slope, which for my lazy palms makes a difference when it comes to comfort. Whilst we have the measurements on screen, let's talk about the form factor. It's slim and long enough to easily fit into your bag, and it's going to be capable for lap play. Not the best, because larger bases are better for that, but capable. If you enjoy going to the occasional local or meetup with friends, it travels easy. The PBT keycaps feel really good and solid. They almost feel like ABS keycaps. The top has a matte finish and the sides are glossy, which really brings out the color and vibrancy of these keycaps. The function button caps are standard fare for Hot 42 controllers. That's to say, they're big and hard enough to reach easily. And whilst there's nothing special about this setup, they are much better than the old plastic nubs they used in earlier models. Before I flip this thing on its face, I want to quickly point out the gentle chamfering on the screen window. It's a nice little touch to soften up the area visually and bring the whole aesthetic together. Around the back we have an injection molded casing. It's got the Hot 42 branding etched into it, and whilst the casing is smoky, these lines are fully transparent, so it brings some three-dimensionality to the visuals. We can see the TBGamer branding on the printed PCB. This is a very mechanical keyboard thing to do, so more than ever, this is an example of the two art forms bridging closer and closer together. If all of this isn't already fulfilling your dopamine receptors, we have a charm hook. Just like the rest of the controller, it's elegantly chamfered inside and out, and it's part of the metal layer, so it's sturdy as can be. If you don't like this leather charm, you're free to hang your own doodads to prove that you are indeed someone with a personality and soul. This is a 17 button controller with the standard 8 action cluster. You can choose your jump from the 2 beans. LS and RS are positioned for easy access with a quick slide. And we have a pinky button that I personally don't use, and an extra up that's handy for 2D arcade games. The space in between the lower and top half is slightly wide. It's not uncomfortable, but will take some getting used to if you use your thumb for the B button. This isn't a good or bad thing, just some people like to move their hands around whilst others prefer minimal movement. Hot 42 has innovated on the physical side of their controllers in many ways, but under the hood, the technology and capabilities have always been the same. They're not shy to adopt new tech though. The Emotion 3 uses the new RP2350 chip, and I believe the Hot engine is their own software. And this new tech means we get new screens. I thought this clear color panel was just a render for the product images, but it's real and it looks fantastic. Much more vibrant than the old black and white OLED screen. Unfortunately, at the time of making this video, the web configurator isn't quite ready, since you can't reboot to controller to save your configurations. I'm hoping this will be sorted out very soon, and when it's complete, you'll be able to use the web configurator to change all sorts of settings that we've come to expect from these controllers. We can change key bindings, SLCD settings, LED lights, and more. Until that's fixed, we'll have to rely on the onboard key binding. The Emotion 3 comes pre-installed with shadow hunting switches. These are my favorite because I like a shorter travel. If you're a full travel kind of guy, switches are hot swappable by just popping the keycaps off and removing them with a switch puller. If you intend to experiment with switches, I highly recommend you buy a good puller, because the one included in the box is awful and you'll more likely be pulling out your own hair than removing these switches. We're rocking 23mm keycaps, so any you find in that size should work. The beans are unique to Hot 42, so you're relying on them to release alternatives if they ever do that. Here's a nice touch and a first for Hot 42. We've got foam O-rings included in the box. If you live with people or want to do secret late night trading when the wife is asleep, these will dampen the sound a little for a quieter experience. Check out my sound test for an example. It goes without saying that aesthetically, the art is the art, and other than putting on your own stickers and decals, there's not much room for individualization there. But then if you didn't like the art, you probably won't be interested in this model anyway. There are plenty of Cosmox branded ones for you. So who is the Emotion 3 for? Well, it's a good choice if you want a controller that has some personality and is easy to pack away. It's not the most moddable controller out there, but the important adjustments are available, and it even comes with O-rings in the package, which is an industry first. I personally feel like the default configuration is fine for most players, especially for newcomers who haven't really developed particular preferences. So what are the cons? Well, as usual with Hot 42 stuff, the finish requires a bit more care. My controller arrived with a smudge on the art, and it's one of those things where if you're an OCD bro like myself, you just can't unsee it. I guess we'll have to accept it as a trade-off for the affordable pricing, because a controller like this would not be £60 if it was released by anyone else. Also, releasing this controller with an incomplete web configurator is a massive oversight, because I'm sure there are plenty of players out there who would buy this with the expectation of using that coloured screen to rep their favourite waifu. Right, so I'm just playing around with the Emotion 3 on the Switch 2, and I have to stress again how important this issue is with not being able to save settings on a web configurator, because I'm usually a right thumb jumper, so I jump with this button, but right now I have to jump with my left thumb, it totally throws my game off. So if you're the kind of person who needs to change your pin mapping and you have to save your profile, this isn't ready for purpose yet. You shouldn't buy this if you need to do that. You are able to change other settings like the SLCD stuff and LED things, you know, things that all you have to do is hold the button and use a button configuration. But anything that requires the web configurator is not going to work. So buyers beware, if you need the web configurator for your settings, this ain't ready for you. Anyway, that was the Emotion 3. Thanks for joining me today. I've been a little bit quiet because life has been lifing, but I appreciate your patience if you've been looking forward to these reviews. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.